Some of you right now are thinking to yourself, this does not apply to me, so I can just check out right now. No. It does apply to you. Guys, you're getting something face down, so leave it face down, please. And it's also folded, and leave it folded, please. It does apply to you because, as you know, your evaluation, part of it has to do with scores, and you get the school's scores, a portion of that. So, therefore, you need to know about this. So, tonight, I'm always the one who ends up teaching this because within our residency group, I'm the only one that has TVAAS scores. So I'm going to show you my scores, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, of the others in this group, either they taught a subject that did not have scores that were directly tied to them, or they were an administrator during that time, so therefore they don't have scores. But I taught 7th grade social studies, which at the time was world geography. And so I'm going to kind of give you kind of a breakdown of what this looks like. But before we do that, what's the first thing we do when the bell rings? All right, let me hear your best bell. Okay. So if you would, please, right here, turn it over, but do not unfold it. You have 1 minute to read the instructions and do what it says. You may write on this piece of paper. No talking, please. 45 seconds. Bless you. 30 seconds. Seconds. Mic drop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop your pencil. Okay, how many of you feel confident about your answer right now? All right, not many of you. So what I'm going to allow you to do right now is I'm going to allow you to open your paper one time and one time only, and you have 1 minute to try the assignment again and begin. Seconds. Seconds. Mic drop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, show of hands. How many of you are feeling more confident about your answer? A few more hands. How many feel confident about your answer? Okay. Do this one more time. Unfold it. You have 1 minute to do the assignment beginning now. talk to me not about your answer, but about your feelings during that process. What, at any of the three times, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Panic.
Why were you panicked?
Because of time limit.
The time limit.
Stressful.
Did you notice the difference in the first time and the third time with the time limit, what I was doing?
Counting versus not counting.
Well, I mean, but it was just like over and over. I kept interrupting you, and you know, and it was just like on you. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, so for some students, the time limits during tests are really scary, you know. This is my problem with testing, that I hear other people turn the page and immediately I go, oh, I'm behind. Oh my gosh, I need to hurry up. And now I can't even focus. All I'm thinking is, I'm behind. I better hurry up, you know. Somebody else.
Irritation.
Why?
Because the original writing was unnecessary, I felt like.
What do you mean unnecessary?
It could have been more clear. It could have actually been...
Okay, hold on a second. Let me ask something. Did anybody feel like the first one was clear?
Ish.
Yeah, I could make most of it.
Okay.
I got the general gist, but without
Right.
turning the...
And what I really wanted to illustrate for you was the feeling of being a struggling reader. And what it's like when you have no decoding strategies and how you do an assignment. Because really, what I want to know is, can you summarize a statement? But if you can't read the statement to begin with, you can't summarize it. So I really wanted you to feel what it feels like to be a struggling reader. Somebody else. Did any of the supports help you? Or did some of you think the supports made it even harder?
Yeah. During the second time, I was focusing more, like it made it harder to actually do the decoding for me to have those there, because I was like, well, I feel like I'm getting enough of the words. No, wait, this whole word is a mess. Now, what is all this? So
Right.
I was having to look back and forth, and I spent the whole time, I didn't write anything during the second time.
The second time, if I had given you that and additional time,
Yeah.
would it have been helpful?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Not
so
for you,
either.
but for some of you say, yes, that would have been what would have helped you. Okay.
I saw the key and I shut down, is what I did.
Uh-huh.
I saw that and I said, I'm not doing this, and didn't do it.
Right.
Because it didn't make sense even when you try to fight some of the words.
Right. What I want you to realize tonight is when we're talking about TVAAS data, all your students come with data. Okay, when they come to you, they've got this data. And you know, do you know that commercial where this number was following the people around? Do you remember this commercial? The credit score, and like everywhere they go, the credit score follows them around, and so that's what they are forever. Okay, so I want you to understand that when a student comes to you with a TVAAS score, that it's not like they're forever, you know, this number. This is data that you can use, and you can use it to your benefit no matter what you teach. It can benefit you to understand their scores, but also to understand the pattern of scores that they have gotten over the years. Because you can use that to help you figure out what supports might work for one student that wouldn't work for another student. And you can kind of, like they were talking about tonight, getting to know them, building those relationships. Well, part of that is figuring out what are their strengths, what kind of learning styles do are they best at. So I tell you what, let's do one more bell work. This time we'll switch to math, okay? And so we are going to do a simple math problem, okay? Notice it says it at the top, simple math problem. Feel free to write your answer on your piece of paper, okay? Here we go. This is a 4-step problem. I'll need you to listen carefully as I read the instructions aloud. Step 1. Multiply the third number in the first row by the 7th number in the third row. I'll repeat that. Multiply the third number in the first row by the 7th number in the third row. Next, add this result to the 5th number in the second row. I'll repeat. Add this number to the 5th number in the second row. Next, Add to this total 10 times the fourth number in the third row. I'll repeat. Add to this number 10 times the fourth number in the third row. And finally, subtract the eighth number in the first row from your result. I'll say that again. Subtract the eighth number in the first row from your result. Now, circle your answer. I'm going to walk around and see your answer. I don't see any circles. Guys, this was a simple math problem. I need you to circle. Show me circle, circle. Guys, what is the problem? This is a simple math problem. You learned this in like third grade. All right, let's pause. Let's pause. Someone tell me what's wrong with the way I did that.
Is it left to right or right to left?
I was sped up. What I heard something here?
Or I think it's left to right or right to left.
Share, it's okay.
I just said it was unnecessary. Like all of those numbers were unnecessary, and the directions were not printed clearly so that we could read them.
The directions were not printed clearly so you could read them. It's just me talking aloud. What's that do for someone who's visual that would do better, to see it written down? I have a question. Which row is the first row?
Wait, what?
What? Do you assume it was the top row?
Why would
Yeah.
But what if it's the bottom row?
Oh, well, I guess.
You
No,
kind of. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody reads top to bottom, but a lot of languages read right.
Well, yes, but maybe it's not top to bottom. Maybe it's flowing back this way.
What if it's a Star Wars scroll?
Well, okay. Also, what did I do at the very beginning, at the very end?
We made it very clear to tell us that it was super simple. We should have gotten it.
This is simple. What is wrong with you people? You don't know this already? So already you're going into this kind of with a, I'm dumb, mentality. And I want you to think about, what is it I really want to know? I want to know if you can multiply, right? Can you multiply 8 times 2? And then, can you add to that number 5? And then, can you add 10 times 5? And finally, can you subtract 8? Okay. Here's what I want you to also realize. When you get this data, this score that's on top of these kids' head, I need you to realize it may be an example of how much they know about that subject, or it may be how much they understood the format of the test that it was given in. So you've got to be really careful with how much stock you put into these numbers. But I want you to realize how to use these numbers because there is some benefit to them, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to introduce you to a class. This is your first period class, okay? Now. Okay, so as I pass out to you your class, please don't eat them, okay? But I will give you some good news before you leave. You can eat them. Ooh, didn't mean to throw that at you. It was connected. Okay. Now, when you open up your students, Eric, I need for you, will you pass these back, please? Oh, Miss Maddox almost got to the head. Is that everybody? Okay. Oh. So sorry. Miss Maddox? Okay. Sorry, Terry. Okay, so I'd like for you to segregate your class by color. We're going back about, 50 years here? Do not go out until the MTSU is teaching you. There's a reason for this. No child left behind. It can't fall on the floor.
Hey, you gotta eat that.
Now, Eric, you're not eating your children. Okay.
That's what I just said.
Now, let me introduce you to your students. If you would, I want you to write down the categories that each color represents. And let's figure out who's got the best first period class. You don't have any behavior problems? Oh, see, you've got the best first period. Who else in this room has no behavior problems? 1, 2 other people. Who in this room has the majority of their students are behavior problems? Anybody? Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, let's talk about average. Anybody have the majority of their students are average?
I have no average.
That's probably more true to what a real classroom is. Nobody's average anymore, you know. Did anybody have a lot of average? You got a bunch? How many you got?
Average is green, yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, okay, cool. What about SPED? Anybody have a lot of SPED? Yeah, hoping you've got an EA coming in there for that period. Anybody have a large ELL population? This is probably what you're going to see in the world, yeah. So the question is, how do I teach all of these kids? And what data is out there that could assist me, especially in the beginning of the year, to figure out how to start meeting their needs from the very beginning? Now, you see your first period? I'd like everybody to glance to your left. Meet your second period.
I got plenty.
All right? Now, look to your right and meet your third period. I started to get some peanut M&Ms just so you have like this classroom of nuts, you know. But do you feel like that you can do exactly the same thing for the first period that's in front of you that you can do with the second period and the third period you have? Quite possibly not. So let's talk about TVAAS data and how this can be helpful to you, okay? All right, so Ms. Maddox, can I trouble you to be my clicker? Because I didn't bring a little thing. Oh, you don't need glasses at all. And just use the forward arrow or backward arrow if you want that. So, you can eat your children now. Yes. And I want you to know the behavior problems taste just like the good food, okay? So go ahead and eat those brown ones. They're all chocolate on the inside. Okay. Now, let me get your attention though. I want to introduce you to this website. This is a website that once you start teaching, you want to become really familiar with. And I want you to know that you will get a password. Last night, that was one of the advices that they gave, was write down all your passwords on one thing, because there's like 10 billion passwords and none of them are the same. But you will get a password at the beginning when you start teaching that allows you to go into the TVAAS site. There are certain things that are available for all people to look at. Things that are just plain old like school-wide demographic or TVAAS data. But what you can't have access to for everybody is individual teachers. That you have to be a teacher to get, and then you only have a certain number that you're allowed. Administrators can see it all. Now, I will tell you, and I assume it's still this way, it keeps up with how often you're on the site. And so occasionally, our principal said to us, I can tell you're not using this site to help you. And we were like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And so what we explained to him, and it was true, was that we went in and printed off all the documents, and then I didn't need to go back anymore. So, I did at least have that to show him. See, I have them. But, so since you can't use it right now, I want you to know there are some things you can use. And if you'll notice, there are some links on the right side that says TVAAS resources. All of those are really kind of explanations about what is TVAAS and how do you use it, how do you interpret the data. So, this is something in your free time, that you might want to explore, right? Now, and I realize, who's got time for that, but it would be one of those things that you would want to glance at before you start teaching. You need to know this to some degree. But I'm going to give you a lot of it tonight that you can get in there. Yes?
When you say before you start teaching, you talking about Res 2 or?
I'm talking about you got hired,
Okay.
you're about to start, somebody asked, what do you do between the time they hire you and whatever? This will be one thing that I do, is I learn how to use this data. Okay, so would you go forward, please? So I'm going to show you some of my data. And you'll notice for each slide, no, that's backwards. All right, this is where we were, so this is it. That's forward, that's backwards. Yeah. Okay, so for each slide, I've got a little information either above or below, so I'm going to give you time to read that, and then I'm going to talk about it. Forgive me for eating in front of you. But I gave you food, so it's okay, right? Okay. So, what you see before you is the TVAAS site once you get into the login space. And if I had my Inspector Gadget arms on right now, I would reach up to where I'm wanting you to look of the thing. Do you see the TVAAS, where it says TVAAS, and below that there's like these 4 words that are obviously drop-down menus?
Yeah.
Well, what I've done is I've gone to the top, the one on the left, it says reports, and it's showing you what drops down. Yes? Oh, that'd be great. Wow, laser pointer. I will tell you that laser pointers hurt when you, so I had one. Okay, thank you. I had one in it was connected to my, my mouse. That's very cool. And so I was just holding it like this, just talking away, and all of a sudden this kid just screams in pain. Oh! I had shot him in the eye with the laser. A terrifying moment. Okay, so right here, when you go to that one, it gives you this drop-down menu, and every single one of those hyperlinks is another report that you can generate from TVAAS. So there's a ton of different ways you can look at this data, okay? So this right here is showing you all the students that I was given this particular year. And when they came to me, they all are in a category. They are either below proficient, at proficiency, or advanced. Every single kid, okay? So the first week of school, here's what you do. You at least figure out where they currently are. And you take your grade book, and you write beside all of them, advanced, or A. Don't write advanced, okay? Have a code, 1, 2, 3. Whatever you want your code to be, X, Y, Z, okay? And you make your seating chart based off of that from the very beginning. Let's imagine you're going to do 4, groups of 4, in your classroom. That's how you're going to start off with. And so in all of them, I've got 2 people facing this way who are like shoulder partners, and then they have a face partner across from them, right? So there's 2 people here, 2 people here. They're all facing each other. So what I do, I've got these 4 groups all around the room. And I know that this first one, I'm going to call this where I put a person that's really high. Okay? In every single group of 4, if they're sitting on this corner, that is a high student. And then right beside of them is a low student. And across from them, maybe 2 medium students. All right? And so I do that from the very beginning. Now, I may realize that this kid cannot sit beside this kid because I don't know them, their personalities yet. But I know this is a high kid, and over here in this group, there's another high kid, and I can just quickly pick this one up, move them over there, switch them around, and I still have that mix of students that's got somebody high, somebody medium, somebody low in all of them. So that's the first way I would use that data. Now, if you say, but I don't teach a class that has data. I teach an elective or whatever. The data is still there. You can access it. And you also are needing to group students. You need to know, where they are. And this is just some information you could use. So get on here and learn this about who's high, who's medium, who's low. Okay, that's the first thing. Let's go forward. I'll let you read what's on the side. Oh, I'll take your question in just a second, okay?